Did you find coming to London was a culture shock in the sense of a different way of teaching music and studying?
I would tell you it was definitely a culture shock. And for example, very, very clear example, was last year, when I was the last year conservatoire in Ukraine, I was already studying at the Guildhall School of Music, and I was playing Schubert Sonata in A major. And in Ukraine, Schubert was considered to be early romantic.
Yes.
And my teacher was very, very precise on how he wanted me to play. And then I came to London and I played there for Caroline Palmer, and she said, "I'm sorry, we don't play Schubert like this. It's late romantic." So she changed the whole thing. Then I went back to Ukraine because I had my exams there, and I played, and then my teacher said, "You know what, if you play again like this, I just walk out of the room and I will never teach you Schubert." So I had to adapt.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting, because people talk about a Russian school, the French school, the English school, and I feel now that that's almost an archaic way of looking at piano study. But do you feel that there is still that sense of a particular style coming from a particular country?
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you've come to London and you studied at the Guildhall and then Trinity.
Exactly.
Yes. And I believe you studied with Douglas Finch.
Yes.
Yes. Now that must have been interesting.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful because, for example, Douglas is very much interested in contemporary music.
Yes, I came across some of his repertoire recently. It's fascinating.
Fascinating, absolutely. And then when I was studying with him, I was actually recording my album called Unveiled with music of Russian women composers. And I did all my master dissertation based on that as well. And Douglas completely backed me up. And he was very, very, always very supportive to all my crazy ideas in contemporary music.
I think that's very important, isn't it, to feel that there's a teacher encouraging you to branch out in new directions. Did you feel that his influence was a sort of springboard to an interest in more contemporary repertoire and the kind of collaborative projects that you work on now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was very lucky because I got into contemporary music by accident, by doing Parklanian Artist Series as a competition, and then I was awarded London debut, where I had to play contemporary music. And to be honest, before that, I wasn't so much in contemporary music, but that's how kind of my interest started. But I started very locally, so I started with obviously Russian contemporary music because it was closest to me. And then, of course, with Douglas and other musicians, and London is a fantastic place for contemporary music.
Yeah, there's plenty of it.
Yes.
So when did you start to think about becoming a teacher?
You know, that was always happened naturally. In fact, I never wanted to be a teacher. It happened absolutely naturally. First of all, when I was in Ukraine, I was studying conservatoire, and from the second year we had to, it was one of our subjects we had to teach, and we had schools, and we had students, and we had exams. It was part of our education. And I really liked that, because I liked it. We taught kids. Maybe my students were 7, 8, 9 years old. But then, you know what, I really like people, and I like to see how people mind tick, and therefore it happened very naturally in London.
So it didn't feel like something you had to do, perhaps to make money?
I was with my agent at the time, after I actually graduated from the Guildhall, and they pushed me in a very, very classical repertoire. So, for example, Mozart 21st Concerto, I played 7 times in a row, and I remember I was feeling like I don't feel anything. And then I said to them, you know what, I really want to concentrate on contemporary music. But of course, when I said that, my agents lost the interest, because at that time that wasn't something which was, you know, very effective, and therefore I went solo. And then I had to support myself because I lost quite a lot of concerts because of that, you know, because I went to start doing wacky things in strange venues, and so I had to support myself. You know, but that was easy. It wasn't like, oh, I had to teach. It kind of people came, and that's how it started.